Hello, 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 and welcome to Between Two Plant Tokens with your host, me, King of Jank. And today I'm joined by Coach from the Card Bazaar. So, hello, Coach. How does it feel to be the first guest on this already dead series?
Fantastic. Hey, I feel honored. This is, you know, if we're gonna kill the beast already, we might as well do it on episode 1. Let's go.
Yeah, that's a very headstrong way to go about this, so I like that. So just to start with some background on you, you have a YouTube channel called the Card Bazaar.
Yes, sir, I do.
With just over 6,500 subs, which is it's very impressive for a channel about middle-aged men playing with cardboard. Um, but but outside of that, you're a teacher, correct?
Yes, sir. I'm a teacher and a football and track coach.
Oh, nice. So you get the wonderful job of crafting the young minds of American youth. But
Yes.
would you say that making a YouTube channel on a kid's card game is more fulfilling than that?
I don't know. It all depends. To me, it really all depends on. It all depends on the day. Like some days are like, do I really want to be like a teacher right now? I just want to. I just want to play cards, or I just want to just do nothing today. And then other days, it's like, well, I guess I have to go be the superhero teacher to forge the minds of men and women, or future men and women, into whatever they want to be. So it depends on the day. Most of the time, it's like, oh, okay, we're going to make the future of America right here. But then there are some days where it's like, do I really want to do this right now? And it's like, there's like some days where I just like don't want to do anything, but it's like I have to because it's like my job and I get paid for this. So I have to I guess we'll just have to wait when we get home.
So I do gotta ask, do your kids or your students know you have a YouTube channel?
About Probably about a fifth of them know I have a YouTube channel. The others are just like, like I think they either don't care or they don't know because like kids will talk and like they probably just don't believe. Oh, coach has a YouTube channel. Like, no, he doesn't. Like that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I know for sure like 20% of my kids know for sure I have a YouTube channel. Probably watch me whenever they can, and the others are just either they're like skeptical or they just don't know.
Okay. Cool. But today we're here to talk about your Magic Audio Book you recorded, the
Yes.
Thran, which actually has a big viewing on YouTube. When I looked at the numbers after first watching it, you're at like 2,000 views a video, which is, I mean, that's a lot. So why did you decide to record an audiobook, and how many times have you been asked this question?
Nobody has finished an MTG audiobook, and the only audiobook that is currently out right now is the War of the Spark video that just got released like a few days ago on Audible. I know because I was talking to Spencer Howland about it, and he got his Audible credit and he started listening to it. And that was the only one that I could figure that, that's the only Magic audiobook that's official on like another platform. Because on YouTube, there's only like the Brothers War that goes up to maybe like 25% of the book. They don't even finish it out. So my job that I wanted to shoot for was to make a complete audiobook for Magic, even if it's just one, and just see how it goes. So this was a 3 to 4 month project that I did, and it was just absolutely like one of the hardest and one of the most time crunching things I've like ever done, because there's just like so many things going on and so many things to do while trying to do this audiobook. But basically, nobody really achieved a full audiobook until I came along and finished it like back in February. So now there is at least one audiobook unofficially that's on there for for Magic the Gathering, And it's the very first one. It's the very, like, the official book in the storyline or in the timeline. While it wasn't published, while it was published in 1999, and it wasn't the first book, chronologically, it's one of the first books. So I wanted to start there, because if this got any more success, then I wanted to end up doing the Brothers War and at least finish like the artifact cycle if I wanted to.
Okay. So you got more planned for this.
Well, it seems like now that the Brothers War, I might actually do the audiobook for the Brothers War, even though it's like 33% larger than like the Thran book, which is fine because I know how to attack this audiobook a lot more efficiently. So I think it's going to be a lot easier. Now that I have Audition up and running and know how to use it, I think the editing is going to be much faster. And, this is going to be a summertime project. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to release the audiobook during football season when my time for YouTube is at the absolute lowest because everything else is going on. Mm-hmm. Like during football season, like you get 0 days off after the bye week. Mm-hmm. And like this last year, I went to work for 49 days straight.
Jesus.
For a high school football teaching and all the stuff that like goes with it. So there were 49 days straight. It was brutal, but somehow I still got videos out. I don't know how. I was probably extremely crazy, but I think this summer I want to try to plan it out a little bit better. So have the audiobook already ready to go by August. And that way I just release it. And then during the summertime, I'll make some more videos, put it out there just every now and then while I'm doing the recording and editing for the audiobook. So there is a plan. I don't know how well this plan is going to work, but there are plans to do the other audiobooks.
Yeah. That's ambitious. Now, I read a summary of this book on its wiki page because I'm not a big fan of books. I prefer them to stay as trees. But could you give me a quick outline on what the Thran is about, just for those who don't want to listen to it?
The rise of Yawgmoth as a powerhouse and him becoming the most famous villain in all of Magic, arguably, probably up there with, for most people who are to the lore, like, we're talking about one of the biggest villains of all time. And this was his rise to power. Like, people like to say Bolas is more powerful, but Bolas also was already strong at first. And Yawgmoth, while he was a strong human, became an even stronger being through lots of difficult tasks and hard work and just pure intelligence. So basically, the Thran is the rise of Yawgmoth.
Yeah, he was like a little house doctor or something, right? That got exiled.
Yeah, he would be like a mix between like a medical doctor, surgeon, and like a person who was well versed in anatomy and physiology, along with a little bit of physics too. Okay. And just he was not really interested in magic as like a cure for certain diseases. So he was more into he is definitely like a scientist in a world full of magicians.
That's
like in D&D he would be like a fighter that has like his intelligence, and his intelligence would be like 20 something, like as high as a character's D&D sheet can go with intelligence. Like that's how brilliant the man is. And on top of that, he carried like 5 swords with him at one time, so he was a great fighter.
Huh. I didn't see that in his in my mental image of him. I thought he was just some old guy in a robe.
No, he's like he's in like his 30s. He does wear robes. He wears like tribal robes that are tattered up, but he carries like 5 blades with him. Like the first time they kind of introduce him to all of his handiwork is when it's like a few minutes or a scene or two before he actually meets Gix for the first time. And so as a show of strength, he climbed into the caves of Koilos, or climbed into the pit where all these diseased people were. And so there was a person, basically the gate guard, that he just was so fast and he just killed him so quickly. And then that's when he met Gix, and that's when they talked about all the weapons that he had on him. So yeah, he carried like a lot of weapons. He was like a weapon master.
Huh. Now, don't you think it's funny how with Magic cards, Wizards actually takes paper and then prints forests on them?
That's kind of ironic. It's just like, because it's like you're chopping down trees and then using those poor trees to draw trees on top of like, it's just it's so ironic. You're cutting down trees to make paper and to make cardboard to draw trees.
Yeah,
like it's freaking crazy sometimes.
Yeah, when I brought up books, I just started thinking about that. Kind of morbid, right? It's like if someone killed me and then harvested my skin and then painted a picture of me on my human leather. It's very disturbing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But kind of flattering.
It's it's just so weird. Like, I didn't really even think about that, but yeah, that's actually, wow, I did not think about that. That's kind of strange and ironic.
So you did some voice changing during the recording of the Thran. How did you feel going about that? How'd you do that?
I absolutely did not know what the hell I was doing. I just flew by the seat of my pants. Like, because I went in doing it cold. And so when I came up with a voice of what Yawgmoth and what Gix and all of them sounded like, I just kind of did it. And then I kind of like would change the values like afterwards in like Premiere. And so I would have to like write it down as I'm like going sometimes, just to remember like, okay, how did Gix sound? How did the Artificer sound? How did but I read it cold, and that was a stupid idea to do. It was never, if you ever do an audiobook, which some people would be like, I highly do not recommend it because it's so hard. But if you do it, read at least the chapter beforehand before you go in and just do it. Don't do it cold, because I know I'm a terrible reader and I have to like look at it once or twice. And I did not do that for the entirety of the book. Like I wanted to do it my way, and it's just, it was ridiculous. But the voices and stuff were kind of on the fly. And then once I like, okay, that sounds good, I wrote it down to kind of like remind myself. So like Gix, for instance. Gix, I imagine, has like since he's kind of diseased, kind of lower than Yawgmoth, I did a raspier voice. It's like, oh, we're gonna kill Yawgmoth today. So that's why we're gonna do it. And then with like Glaceon, I just used my own voice with a little bit of an upbeat, with a little bit of like kind of anger towards like Yawgmoth for trying to steal like my wife or whatever, or Glaceon's wife. But that's how I imagined it. And then like Yawgmoth, who we wanted a distinct evil change to it, or I wanted a distinct evil change to it, like a darker tone. Oh, so this is how you repay me for trying to kill you, Glaceon. Like that kind of like. And then I would go into the Premiere and I would actually change the values to where the pitch is lower, so he sounds like super dark, but also like very flattering at the same time, because like Rebecca's obviously attracted to Yawgmoth in the books. So, but it was kind of on the fly. I got the first 3 down. And then as I went along, if there were not main characters, I kind of just did whatever. So a lot of times it would just be like a different accent. So if it was like the Artificer or like a dwarf, if it was like a dwarf, like one of the dwarf ambassadors, like, well, that's one of the scenes where we're going to come in and kill Yawgmoth myself with my giant battle axe, or like a Russian accent, Irish accent, like something. It would just something that would go on the fly.
You just fit in all the nations into this.
Yeah, basically
book.
Fit in like. Now I don't think I remember doing Russian on there, but I remember doing like an Irish accent. I remember doing like maybe a Scottish, maybe somewhat. I don't think I did an Australian accent too, but I would change them up, just so the people were distinct. So if you lost track of who was talking, you could kind of figure it out by the voice they were doing. So like, I know one scene that I did was where Yawmoth was trying to attack another ship. And so they were in like this firefight, and the engineer was like trying to talk to Yawmoth to try to get out of a nosedive and try to avoid the enemy. Well, so it's like, pull up right now. Like, we're going to take this ship down. And then like the narration would go on to like, the artificer came up and was like, you're going to kill us all. Not today. And then just like throws them off. So you would like have to make like very quick changes when it's like fast dialogue like that.
Yeah.
But I did it a couple times. It wasn't bad. But it was mostly on the fly, and it ended up for me. I guess it ended up working out okay, because like 2,000 views per video for a thing that's been out for like 2 months. Hopefully it catches a little bit more fire. And I think once I start doing the Brothers War, and once I start releasing that, hopefully, since more people are invested in the Brothers War, they'll pick up on the Thran too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I got a request for doing the Planeswalker's Guide to Alara as well. So I might do that in the summertime too and release it later. So, because it's only like 150 pages.
Yeah, so that was shows all the work you put into that, doing all that. Did you do any other modifications to get in character? You know, wigs, clothing, anything like that?
No. Oh God, no. I had to use my imagination.
No.
So like, and especially the feminine. One of the hardest ones was I want to say like the female voices, like Rebecca, and then even Dyfed too, because Dyfed, you're talking about a female with an African descent, like an African accent along top of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I would imagine Dyfed, like just so she won't sound the same as, let's say, Rebecca. So that way you can tell which feminine character is which. And then even the Chancellor the High Chancellor at for Halcyon is a female. So like, I think her name was Jameth, and her we had to come up with like an old feminine woman.
Mm-hmm.
And that was probably the hardest ones to do, but no wigs or anything. It was just, I had a really good imagination, I think.
Good. Well, we're going to take a moment here to have a word from our sponsor.
Nice. We have sponsors?
No, I don't have a sponsor. Do you have a sponsor that you'd like to shout out here? I
guess Ted from Cardsphere. Watch Ted, like, that would be, man, if I did a card, well, I mean, I could probably do it for Ted, because that would just be free advertisement for Cardsphere, even though, I don't know, I'm still a free agent, so.
I was going to say, if that was a shout out to Cardsphere, that I wouldn't want to be
this is totally a shout out to
This
is totally a shout out to Cardsphere, because I just used them last week. And I sold off a good chunk of cards and have a few $100s just sitting there, which I probably need to like cash out. But yeah, dude, it was like super convenient. So hell yeah, Cardsphere and Ted and all the boys over there. So yeah, if this is a total shout out, like, yeah, Cardsphere's great.
Well, go use Cardsphere. That's our unofficial sponsor.
That's our unofficial sponsor, yes.
And the Card Bazaar. Okay, so let's play a game. I'm going to name 3 characters from the audiobook.
Okay.
The Thran. And you tell me which one you'd like to fuck, which one you'd marry, and which one you'd kill. It's just a little game I created called Wed, Murder, and Intercourse. So here are the 3 characters. We got the main woman, Rebecca. We got Yawgmoth, and we got Dyfed. So, which one would you like to kill?
Obviously, Yawgmoth. We're going to kill Yawgmoth.
I thought you were a big proponent of Yawgmoth.
Yes, but if it's in a game like this, I mean,
he is a bad guy. I get it.
He is a bad guy. He must be annihilated. Not that I don't admire him, but he's also like, later on he would like in the books he would kill like, in the books like Invasion and Plane Shift and Apocalypse, like he killed like billions of people, like like a lot. He killed a lot of people. So I mean, that's pretty harsh and pretty evil. So he probably needs to go.
Yeah, I agree. It's like if you could go back in time, you should probably kill Hitler.
Yeah.
Like people, like I know history is important, but you should probably kill him. People might look at you as selfish if you didn't. Okay, so which one would you marry?
Marry Dyfed.
Nice.
And then have the extracurricular activities with Rebecca.
Yes. That was very correct way to say that. So, let's go again with another round.
All right, let's see.
We have John Dunning, Johnny Slivers, and Zuby.
Dirty. Let's do it anyway.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Kill Zuby because
Ouch.
he probably was going to kill my character in D&D anyway. So we have to take a shot at him before he takes a shot at us.
Yep.
Probably marry Slivers and extracurricular activities with Dunning.
Okay. I will admit that Slivers has some very kind eyes. I would enjoy Johnny making me breakfast every morning.
That's awesome.
So that's it for that. If you don't know those people, those are co-hosts with Coach on the They Said We Said series, Tin Street Hooligans, and I suggest you go look at all of them because they're all wonderful people. So we kind of covered this, but my last question is, you have future plans for another audiobook, and well, I don't know. The question is kind of useless now. We kind of covered it. But you're going to do the Brothers War, you said. And what? Any other plans in the future? Is this going to be a reoccurring thing? Every couple months, you're going to release a new audiobook?
Maybe. Well, there's also I'm working on a new project right now, and hopefully I could get a release by next week. But it's going to be the Dominaria timeline, where I was trying to get it out before like War of the Spark, but obviously that didn't happen. So now I want to do the Dominaria timeline to where it leads up to War of the Spark, where like the last event's going to be where Bolas takes Liliana and the Gatewatch Planeswalk to Ravnica. Okay. So it's a big lead up to War of the Spark, and kind of it also kind of shows how Bolas came along, even though he doesn't really show up in the timeline too often, and there's not really a lot I expand upon in there. You kind of know where he's at because there's a lot of just stories that happen on Dominaria. Like the video ended up being like 47 minutes. Like the audio after editing ended up being like 47 minutes. So hopefully by Saturday of next week, or hopefully May 10th or May 11th, I'll have it done, and hopefully that'll do just as successful as the other timeline video that's I think approaching like 200,000 views. Yeah. So, and this one, there were a lot of problems with the first timeline video. Like for instance, I didn't have like the dates in like one of the corners, which that's one of the first things I did. And I also didn't really expand upon some of the events. So what I've done in the video is that I basically summarized the events and the books, or some of the books, and did it for the whole of Dominaria. And then I'm going to try to come back and go back to like Tarisier, go back to Arona, to go actually look into the continent itself and show everyone even more specifics of the stories on those continents, so they have an idea. So it'd be like a timeline / geography of like Dominaria. And the series is going to be called A History of Dominaria. Right now, I think if I finish this up by next week, the Dominaria timeline should be like a standalone. It should be able to stand on its own as a video. It shouldn't have to rely on everything else, because it's like an overview basically. And then the next video I want to try, which I don't have a set date on it, but I want to try to cover like the main continents and some of the surrounding land with it. So that's a project I'm looking into. While the audiobook did take 3 months, I think I could do each, I could do the Brothers War, I think, in a little bit less time now that I have better, now I'm using Audition and I kind of know how to plan this out now. So I think I could pop these out a little bit better. I'm going to use a different mic. I'm going to use this condenser mic that I'm actually using for this, try to find a quiet room, and that way I don't have to worry about background noise, because this is actually doing a fairly good job of getting the background noise out. And
I was just going to say this mic sounds really good.
Yeah, I think, and I'm super close to it, which is a good thing. But you could still hear some other stuff depending on what kind of earphones you have. But I think once I combine this with like a closed room or like something that's, super quiet, I think it's going to be a lot better as far as the audiobook goes. So, and I think if I plan it right, if I think I do it right, I could get the Brothers War out, during football season. Hopefully, or I could finish, right before August hits. And then from there, I'll kind of just play it by ear. I want to finish the artifact cycle first. But another thing I could do is I could do the books based on the timeline, which would still be the artifact cycle first. But then you could kind of bounce around with like the legend cycle and with some other stories. So, but I think the Brothers War, I think I'm going to do it unless something really drastically changed. So I think that's the plan for the summer, because I need stuff to release during football season where I don't think I'll have enough time. Like I could probably still plan videos, but I won't have nearly as much dedication like I do in the summertime. I really need to take advantage of the summertime just to plan, maybe have just videos set aside just for the first semester, just kind of backlog.
Okay. Well, that all sounds exciting, and I legit won't lie, that geography of planes, like geography of Dominaria, that sounds really interesting. That isn't me being sarcastic. I would really like to see someone map out and describe all these areas we hear about in cards and stuff. That's a great idea. That's a fucking great idea.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna hopefully the timeline video I do hopefully release next week will kind of cover most of that, because I'm gonna refer and great thing that the new updated Dominaria map came out, because I'm gonna reference it a lot. I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna have transparent circles to like show, okay, here's what's happening. Here's the location. Now I'm going to show you the cards and the settings and all this stuff to kind of give you a better idea. And on top of that, right even before I start with the actual continents, I actually go through how large Dominaria is to like Earth, because it's like 2.5 times bigger than Earth. And so in Premiere, I did it to where I had to do some scale calculations, and I showed like maps, like how big Earth is and how big Dominaria is, and it's like really drastic. And then I have pictures of the globes next to each other, and then like, since people think Dominaria is a hollow planet, I have all the theories about that, or just like some quick hitters. Like I think it's going to be a really good video, like once I kind of figure out how to do the spacing and how to maybe come up with some good background music or find some good background music. But I think it might do pretty good. It might give Dominaria some justice.
Nice. Okay, well, that's about all the time I have to do this today. So where can the people find you at, Coach?
People can find me by subscribing to the Card Bazaar on my YouTube channel. They could find me on Twitter by going to Coach at the Card Bazaar CC. They could also find me with the 3D printing stuff. They could even find me on Thingiverse by searching up the Card Bazaar and subscribing to me there, or following me on there, because I make a lot of things on Desktop Hero 3D and through SketchUp. So I do a lot of D&D stuff on there. So you can find me on Thingiverse, Twitter, YouTube. And that's really the main places I go to. So,
well, that's awesome. And if you haven't subbed or liked or done anything with Coach's stuff at the Card Bazaar, You really should, because his content is grade A. It's fantastic. Again, that's not me just being sarcastic. That's his content deserves more than what it gets. It's fucking phenomenal. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem. That's all we got for today. If I make another episode of this, I don't know who's going to be on it. Because it's a dead series. We covered that in the beginning.
I'm pretty sure we could get Dunning on here.
Yeah, we should get John on here. See what happens.
Yeah.
Anyways, until next time, goodbye. Have a good one.